Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Thomas. Here at ABC10, we stand for you. And that means giving you context, depth, and advice to help you and your loved ones navigate this changing world. So here's a collection of stories the team has been working on. A bill at the state capitol is sparking national controversy. Should undocumented immigrants be allowed to receive money from the state to help buy their first home? ABC10's Jeannie Nguyen has more on the plan and why it's so controversial.
On a busy Tuesday at the state capitol on the Senate floor,
Assembly Bill 1840 by Assemblymember Arambula.
Lawmakers passed Assembly Bill 1840. Democratic Senator Scott Wiener presented this bill on the Senate floor on behalf of its author, Assemblymember Joaquin Arambula.
This bill allows undocumented immigrants who have social security numbers or taxpayer identification numbers, meaning they are working and paying taxes in California, to be able to access down payment assistance programs.
The California Dream for All program offers up to a 20% down payment on a home or up to $150,000. AB 1840 would make it so eligible applicants would not be turned down solely based on immigration status.
Many of them have been living here for years or decades. They're raising families here. They've started businesses here. They're working, paying taxes. They're contributing to the community, and we shouldn't demonize them.
But Republican Senator Brian Jones tells ABC10 this legislation is unfair to documented California residents.
Now is not just allowing people to immigrate illegally to America. Now we're encouraging them to immigrate illegally.
Not only that, Senator Jones takes issues with the California Dream for All program itself.
The Democrats created this problem here in California. Now they want to try to find a solution by redirecting tax dollars from honest, hardworking, everyday Californians that are paying their taxes, and then redirect that money to people that they find somehow qualified for these buyer programs.
With the session in its final week, this bill is headed back to the Assembly, and if it passes, it'll go to the governor's desk where he will sign or veto the legislation.
Democratic Senator Dave Cortese voted in favor of the bill and told ABC10 this is about equity and inclusion. To see his full statement, head over to our website, abc10.com/to-the-point. Meanwhile, it has been almost 50 years since 5 men went missing in the Plumas National Forest. They're known as the Yuba County Five, and the case remains a mystery. ABC10's Roxanne Elias spoke to their families, and they're still pleading for answers.
For almost 50 years, these woods have held the mystery of the Yuba County Five.
Case isn't closed, and I don't know that I'm even waiting.
Their disappearance has puzzled people around the world.
No way on earth that they went on their own.
Is it possible something nefarious happened? Did one of these people turn on their own?
No matter how simple you are, you ain't gonna take off in the woods.
We get the answers to this case now. It's been 46 years. No need for this to go on any longer.
And it is that disappearance that really kind of draws you into this case.
It's a question still being asked 46 years later. What happened to the Yuba County Five? The men who lived with intellectual disabilities were known as the Boys. Ted Weir, Jackie Hewitt, Bill Sterling, Jack Madruga, and Gary Mathias.
Madruga was from Yuba City, and everybody else lived in Yuba County, in the Olivehurst area.
The one up on the top right.
Dallas and Perry Weir remember their brother as a gentle giant.
They didn't have a description of what was wrong with him then, and as I think now, it might have been autism.
He could write and spell, and he could remember movies better than the rest of us.
Tony Wright, author of Things Aren't Right, The Disappearance of the Yuba County Five, describes the other boys as very active and friends who loved to spend time together.
And then you had Jack Madruga, who was 30 years old. He was a very quiet, introverted person, but very smart, very kind and loving, and that's how he was remembered by his family. Bill Sterling was 29. He was an avid bowler. He too was an athletic individual, known for being a very sweet individual. There was Gary Mathias, who was 25 years old. He was very athletic, known as a great brother. He was a musician who played in a rock band in high school, was a great harmonica player, spent time in the military. And then there was Jackie Hewitt, who was 24 years old. He was a great friend, a very loving person, very kind, very sweet.
The boys met in the 70s on a basketball team for a Yuba County nonprofit that helped people with disabilities. They followed UC Davis basketball, and on February 24, 1978, the 5 men piled into Madruga's car to watch a college basketball game in Chico.
It was Chico State and UC Davis. Davis was their kind of home team. They really wanted to see them do well. And they had traveled this before. It wasn't a first time for them. So it was familiar territory, familiar path.
Brian Bernardus, the cold case investigator for the Yuba County Sheriff's Office, says there's no doubt the boys made it to the game.
The editor of the Chico newspaper actually recalled seeing the 5 of them there, where they were, because they were kind of out away from everybody else. There was something very distinctive about them. They were memorable.
After the basketball game, they stopped at a convenience store in Chico.
They'd stopped in there and picked up candies and cakes and milks, the things that kids would buy, not things that young adult men would buy.
But it's what happened next that still puzzles law enforcement agencies to this day.
They literally disappeared into nowhere.
Gone without a trace. On February 24th, the boys disappeared. The next day, on February 25th, the boys' families reported them missing.
That night they were saying, well, they're grown boys. They can go do what they want. They're not lost or anything. Well, those aren't normal grown boys.
On February 28th, Jack Madruga's car was found in the snow on the Oroville-Quincy Highway in Butte County. That's about 70 miles in the wrong direction from home. What was the condition that the car was found in?
It was intact and undamaged. Best way to describe it. It was abandoned, for lack of a better term. Windows were down, or at least one of the windows were down. The candies and milk and things that they had purchased at the store, those wrappers were in the car. There were some maps that were found in the car, which Madruga was kind of a map student. Nothing would indicate that there was any foul play or some type of heinous act that occurred.
A massive search followed.
So now you have Yuba and Butte counties both working the case. They brought in snow equipment so they could travel across the snow, and the weather came in and put a complete halt to any efforts to look further.
For days on end, families searched for their missing loved ones.
Just the thought of, my little brother that I love dearly being by himself, lost in the woods, and, you're scared spitless.
But it wouldn't be until June 4th that detectives would get a break in the case. Motorcyclists off-roading near a rural Plumas County campground came upon some portable buildings used for fire crews during fire season. They found a broken window and went to take a closer look.
And when they opened the door, the smell of decomposition was pretty intense, and they realized that something significant was in there, and they found a human body in there on a bed.
It was the body of Ted Weir.
Ted was laying in the bed on his back, and he was wrapped up very neatly in several blankets, as if somebody was trying to keep him comfortable or take care of him. He was in a tremendous state of decomposition.
When Ted's body was found, investigators say he had lost almost 100 pounds. He starved to death.
And then also they say there was cans of food open with a P-38, a military can opener. So who opened those, I don't know. And I don't know if Ted would have known that or not.
Ted's boots were also missing, and Gary's shoes were left behind in the trailer. And there was a propane heater that had not been touched. On June 5th, Bill Sterling and Jack Madruga's bodies were found next on the side of a road about 5 miles from where the car was found. On June 6th, Jackie Hewitt's body was found about a mile from Ted's in a wooded area by his own father.
That was probably the most tragic part of the whole thing. He finds his son's remains.
Still missing Gary Mathias.
Why were they up there? And like he's saying, somebody made them, and maybe not so much made them, might have promised them something.
There were rumors that the boys were involved in a fight outside the convenience store in Chico, and reports that someone confessed in church to killing them. None have led to the truth. As for Gary Mathias,
there have been talks from the families that believe that he may have been
the one to cause all this or involved in it.
That was the hypothesis early on. I mean, everybody, law enforcement included, really suspected he was somehow responsible for their demise. He was the one in the group that condition was not naturally occurring. He did have a troubled past.
Matthias had had drug problems and was diagnosed with schizophrenia.
I sure would. I'd give my hat and my overcoat to know. Because it is just so stupid, so silly, and so gruesome, and so 4 or 5 people missing, and one of them is not found.
It's almost been 50 years. What makes this case so difficult to solve?
No independent information, no witnesses, and the likelihood that the only people that truly know that what happened that night, they perished in those hills. I speculate too that even Gary Matthias perished in those hills.
There's a lack of evidence, there were no fingerprints lifted or blood tests done.
Sometimes the passage of time, people get closer to their own mortality and they feel compelled to confess to something they did because they realized how bad it was.
Ted's brother Dallas turned 80 this year, and he says he has faith this case can still be solved. He just doesn't know if he'll live to see it happen.
Unless somebody come forward and knew what happened, that's the only way it could be.
I don't know what would solve it. And maybe with what you guys are doing, what 2 other people have done, I don't know. I don't know if I can have any.
Yuba County deputies say they still receive calls about the case, but it's mostly speculation. If you or anyone you know has any information about this case, call the sheriff's office at 530-749-7777. Well, many people already have an idea how they plan to vote for president, but we know all the other choices can be confusing. And here at ABC10, we stand for you. We want to help you make the best informed decision. And so we're building on our 2022 voter engagement efforts. This is an opportunity for you to ask us anything that could help you cast your vote. ABC10's Brandon Ritteman has more.
So much election news is about the horse race. Who's ahead in the polls? What wild thing did the candidate say? Those things matter, but they're not always the most helpful when you're trying to decide how to cast your ballot. That's why ABC10 is making a point to stop and listen to you.
You know, people have jobs, they have children. We're in an environment where everything is expensive. People are just trying to survive. You know, so the least we could do as journalists, local journalists, is do our due diligence and be out in the community.
This is among the first of many meetups where you, our voting viewers, can come tell us what you need to make your vote count, to ask us anything.
When we were out in the community, we really saw people just having very intimate questions that were really specific to them. Thinking about accessibility at a polling place. That's not something that we as journalists would normally really think about.
We're building on those efforts this time around, and instead of going out for a month, we're doing it for 3 months. So we're going from August to November into communities, and primarily, low voter turnout communities, communities of color.
One thing we've heard loud and clear, a lot of us get confused by all those ballot propositions. That's why we're bringing back our Prop Explainer videos, which we've done every election since 2018. This year, California has 10 statewide ballot propositions for you to decide. Our videos cut through the ads and the arguments to give you simple facts and context about what your yes or no vote would mean on each proposition.
We've heard over and over how helpful those are. From voters, from viewers, from people that we know that sit down around the kitchen table, pull up the videos, and they listen one by one, and that's how they fill out their ballot.
That's the kind of clarity we're working to bring to any election question you have. Politics is famous for a lack of straight answers. We're here to do something about that.
This is a different way to cover elections because it's us going into the community and hearing directly from community, from voters, what they want to see and what questions they have, and we're responding in real time.
Whatever question you have about the election, just ask us. Go to abc10.com/vote. You'll find answers to a lot of basic questions about voting and the election, a form where you can ask us any question you like. We'll be responding to all the questions and answering them on the air. You can find our list of events coming up in September and October as well. Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. Between now and then, we're here to answer your questions and provide the information you need to cast your vote.
And you can send us your voter election questions right now. Just head over to abc10.com/vote and you'll find the survey to submit your questions. At ABC10, we love to tell the stories that highlight the community. And so, listen to this. Baseball fans in Modesto are celebrating as the Modesto Nuts announced they will be staying in town for at least another year. But the future remains uncertain. ABC10's Gabriel Porras explains.
Well, it's a simple, pretty easy to read 3-page document, but this agreement took a long time to turn into reality and means a whole lot to a lot of people. It means that Modesto will keep its reigning California League champions, the Modesto Nuts, for another year here at John Thurman Field.
And we look forward to a 2025 season.
That statement from the general manager of the Modesto Nuts and a city in celebration would have been unthinkable weeks ago when the contract between the city of Modesto and the Nuts, a minor league affiliate of the Seattle Mariners, was set to expire.
We've had this agreement with the Mariners and worked really hard together.
But that work broke down in July when city officials say the Nuts left the table on negotiations to extend their contract.
Well, when I first heard that this was, potentially going to end, it's heartbreaking.
Heartbreak soon turned into hope when the Nuts came back.
And I'm grateful to you and all of your efforts.
The efforts by city staffers led to a proposal for a 1-year contract extension.
Thankfully, our council unanimously decided to go forward with that. We're just really grateful that we're able to see that through for another year.
Another year for a rent of $600,000. $75,000 of that the Nuts get to hold on to for capital improvements.
There's always contracts involved and discussions and negotiations that have to take place.
City officials reluctant to talk about the ongoing negotiations, but with optimism now on both sides.
I am very grateful to the city of Modesto to renew and commit to the city and minor league ball.
Fans are hoping negotiations to keep the Nuts will reach home plate.
We'll see what the next year brings. We look forward to the future with the Nuts.
In Modesto, Gabriel Porras, ABC10.
The 1-year agreement includes a stipulation that the Nuts cannot negotiate with any other city in Stanislaus County to move the team. Stay with ABC10 for updates. As the summer comes to an end, I have to tell you, we do want to give you a place to mark on the calendar that you might want to consider visiting. It's time for another trip on the back roads. This time, John Bartell takes us to Humboldt County for an out-of-this-world event.
In the summer of 1994, strange, unexplainable lights appeared in the sky over Humboldt County.
I saw it. It was at night. We were down in Larrabee Valley, and there was lights hovering over there, and then boom, they were gone.
Was it a plane, a meteor, or was it something else?
Have we figured out what these lights are?
No, never figured it out.
We may never know what it was, but one thing's for sure.
What?
Those strange lights inspired this, the Bridgefest saucer toss.
And we decided to huck saucers off the bridge under the river bar, and we also throw rocks and all sorts of things off the bridge to celebrate this beautiful bridge that we have in our town.
Spanning across the Van Dusen River is the old Bridgeville Arched Bridge, the beloved landmark in the Little Forest community of Bridgeville.
This bridge has brought a lot of people together. This area is very diverse.
Jennifer Bishop is the intergalactic commander of Bridgefest, and she explains the odd relationship between a UFO sighting and the old Bridgeville Bridge.
We just really want to throw things off the bridge, and if you could put a funny hat on while doing it, you get extra bonus points.
Yeah, I think that's a grand idea.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Oh. The saucer toss rules are pretty simple. The closest one to hit the landing zone target wins.
What's your strategy?
Aerodynamics. You know, just like how I got here from the Kepler boat, it's all about speed and aerodynamics.
Yeah! Brute force and a little science definitely helps, but so does a good costume.
Humanoids out there must clap.
And if you don't have your own saucer, you can borrow one from the saucer box.
Those guys at the bottom of the bridge are the spacecraft recovery team.
Well, I can attest that throwing saucers off a bridge is pretty fun, but the bridge itself has a major historical significance to Humboldt County.
So yeah, this was the main bridge to get across the Van Dusen River. There was no other bridges.
Built in 1925, the Bridgeville Bridge was one of a series of newly designed concrete bridges on Highway 36, constructed by American engineer John B. Leonard.
And people did not like them at first because it was a different design, and so they actually criticized him quite a lot.
Swollen with record amounts of rain are pouring across access routes, destroying bridges and inundating entire communities.
Highway 36 runs through the Six Rivers National Forest, an area hit hard by the Great Flood of 1964. Though John Leonard's bridge design was a bit odd, they did hold up.
And only his bridges were the only ones that survived in this area, and then his bridges became very famous and well loved.
John Leonard's narrow but strong bridge held up to flooding, but it couldn't hold up to modern traffic. In the early 1990s, a much wider, traffic-friendly bridge was built up the road and actually bypassed the town of Bridgeville altogether.
The town was very distraught that they were going to fall off the map.
The hoopla spread across the country when the little Humboldt County town of Bridgeville became the first community ever sold on eBay.
Various levels of mafia people have come through. There's been religious cults and all sorts of people that want to have their own little town, but no one can quite pull it off.
Come on, little people, little aliens.
Right now, it's not clear what the new owners will do with the town, but so far, Bridgeville hasn't fallen off the map. The school, the community center, and the post office are still serving the community, and it's partly because of Bridgefest.
And it's brought more energy back into the town at a time when people were wondering if we were going to be lost.
The odd UFO-themed celebration not only attracts tourists to town,
Where's your hat?
it also allows many generations of colorful community members to celebrate this little spot on Earth that they call home. From Bridgeville, I'm John Bartell. Hope to see you on the back roads.
And do you have something in your town that would be a great road trip destination? Let John know by texting your idea to 916-321-3310. You can also watch the latest adventures right now on ABC10 Plus. And don't forget, we have more features just like this on the ABC10 Plus app. That's where you can also find the latest news and headlines and stay up to date on weather conditions. Thanks again for watching. I'm Chris Thomas. We'll see you next time.
Weekday mornings on ABC10.
I know what we're doing. We're getting you ready.
Oh, you're going to know first.
About the breaking news that affects you.
What happened overnight right here in Northern California.
And across America.
Plus my 10-day forecast helping you plan and keeping you safe.
That's how we do mornings.
So you're ready to take on the day. ABC 10 Morning News.
And Good Morning America.
Right here on ABC 10.
See you weekday mornings starting at 5.